our panel this morning. Simon Bridges, former politician, of course, Auckland Business Chamber CEO, and Sarah Henry, our Media Editorial Director. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good to see you both. Geez,
Good to see you.
You would be a bit worried, wouldn't you, when you're in a plane and then you hear something's going on down there? Bit freaky?
Yeah, not ideal.
Not ideal.
Not ideal for the morning commute.
No. Right, Trump and Putin. Did you see that press conference on the weekend, Simon? Bits of it. It wasn't quite what I thought it was going to be. I mean, I assumed that they would take questions, and that's where things get a bit spicy with Trump. But just hearing overnight some of these developments, like potentially Putin's open to allowing, not that it's his call, but would do a deal which included the Americans doing an Article 5 NATO-type backstop for Ukraine.
Yeah, I mean, it's very fluid. It's hard to know exactly what happened in the meeting and what it all means. I think, I sit there. Well, firstly, I hope that Trump isn't getting played by Putin, right? Which, I think was the best we can do. I think actually Trump, in fairness to him, because I think in New Zealand media we're often not entirely fair to the guy. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that he's the second coming or anything. He's got a lot of issues, but I think. He has got better on Ukraine. I think the other thing I'd just say is, you made the point earlier, he's got Europe and so on coming in to see him in the next 24 hours. I mean, I would think they will really slow him down. He does seem a bit the last person he's talked to on this issue is where he's kind of at.
Yeah.
And so I'm not saying that's good enough, but I do think it's I still have hope about all of this from a Ukraine perspective.
Yeah. And Sarah, the other thing about, and I can completely understand where the ambassador's coming from, who we had on earlier, like, this guy's a war criminal and a dictator, but
all true.
You kind of do have to talk, don't you, in order to get anywhere, I suppose?
Well, 100%. What they've been doing up till this point hasn't resulted in any kind of great outcome. Look, I think Trump really wants to be the guy that stops the war, right? I think that's his motivation. And I think Putin will be sitting back with his popcorn, just watching this meeting roll out and thinking, this will be interesting how this is gonna roll. And I think the two of them are megalomaniacs, and they're loving every minute of it.
And I have no empathy whatsoever for Putin, right, at any level. But you also think, you remember this guy, all the incentives are on him are at a level to keep this going.
Totally.
But he possibly has real issues for himself personally.
It's his grip on the Kremlin, right?
Correct. So all of that. And I do think, and I hear what you're saying, look, I don't think you could say megalomaniac and Trump don't go together. But I do think what's also true, what's interesting with both Gaza and this one, Trump does seem to, it's just interesting watching him. Look, he doesn't seem to be a warmonger. He hates death and kind of all of that stuff. So look, I'm sort of in the category, given the benefit of the doubt for having these meetings. You could argue that it was a good thing for Putin did it, but let's have some hope on this.
And also, he's in the self-interest camp. He wants that Nobel Peace Prize. And the deadline is looming. Right, let's talk about our debt here in New Zealand. In about 3 years' time, this is a really good series that's been published by the Herald. You can check it out, nzherald.co.nz from today, on our debt. We're nearing $1 trillion. Just sounds like so much bloody money, doesn't it, Sarah?
It's one of those numbers that you can't even comprehend, right? You just keep adding a Z onto it or another O, and because it just doesn't seem kind of real. But the thing is, it's like when you borrow, you want progress or you want an outcome from that. And I feel like that's the part that we're not
Groundhog Day.
The bang for the buck that's coming from that massive debt just doesn't seem to kind of be there. We're just treading water. And I think that's the kind of concerning thing. And you can apply that to your own home lending, or you can apply it to the country's lending, right? We are just cruising along and the bill's going up.
So it actually, another way of saying it matters what you borrow on, and that was the problem with the Ardern government, right? If you're borrowing it to just kind of do this, you're not getting anything. That's not a good thing. That's spending, not investment. I mean, I've got a slightly gonzo view on this. Debt matters. Public debt matters. If you're a household, you're a business, you're a government. But I do think right now in New Zealand, we're kind of at some levels missing the main thing, the bigger of the two evils, which is we've got a growth problem, right?
You're willing to swallow some debt to get growth.
Personally, I am.
Yeah.
Because I just think in the end, what keeps Kiwis here?
Which keeps you out of step with your colleagues who say, no, wait for the Reserve Bank's...
My former colleagues.
Former colleagues, sorry.
And I would say, I'm not trying to lump you, but in the media and the general view of life at the moment. That's why I just feel I've got to push my little thing here, because I do think in the end, hey, I'm not for debt, but public debt in New Zealand is actually pretty low in comparison with the US and Europe. It's not to say we should go at it, but I do think right now we've got a bigger of two evils issue, which is growth. Corporate tax relief, some of these things to get things going would make a. You're not going to.
You're sounding a little bit like Grant Robertson, though.
No, because it's very different. Because I'd spend it on business to get things G'd up, to get things going, to create jobs. His record wasn't doing that. Would be my view.
Have you heard of the Gen Z stare?
Well, not until this morning,
oh,
Ryan.
Really?
Yes.
So the Gen Z
experienced
stare,
it.
you
Experienced,
have.
yes.
So this is where's Zach? He's gone. Oh, there he is. So he's
Does he
Gen
do
Z.
it?
No, don't smile, Zach. That's not it. Yeah, just miserable face. So it's this thing.
He looks a bit aspirational to be.
He's too happy. He's a bad example this morning, but it's where it's on TikTok, so it must be real. Where when particularly in a customer service type role, which we've all done when we were younger, and you're taught smile and be polite and go and ask questions, blah blah blah. Whereas now you walk into a clothing shop and they just sort of stare at you like you're an alien and don't really want to know anything about you. Do you think there's something in this, or do you think this is just a bit of hype?
Oh, look, I'm always reticent to be that person that's like, the next generation, they're letting us all down, because I think that's always.
Oh, of course they are.
Go
on. Of course they are.
Along the way, you get tagged with the boomer thing if you're putting that forward.
Because they're not drinking or having sex, isn't that right?
Exactly.
It's all these things. They're
clearly miserable.
They're on a pity party, joy germs. They need to. It is a definite thing. I've definitely experienced it. It's not universal, though. To be fair, I agree. It's more of a sort of I would say it's a Ponsonby Britomart too cool for school kind of thing.
Oh, you're so Auckland right now.
So the Ponsonby Gen Zers aren't getting laid.
I don't know. I don't. I'm just saying to you, and I don't think they understand. I won't. Maybe you're. I'm not going to come back. I want a bit of charm. I want a bit of romance. The service is half the thing when you're eating out.
Yeah.
I think if you message them some banter, or maybe send a meme or something, you'll 100% get a reaction there, right?
It's funny you say that. Well, we talked about it on the radio this morning, and so many people messaged in to say, just wear a T-shirt with emojis.
Yeah.
Or,
Exactly.
And you'll probably get a better response.
But actually, my wife would say, Natalie, there are another half of them that are out there that are uber friendly. Everything's like chirpy and amazing, and it's too much, and it's kind of so there is this. There is this balance to be had.
And now we sound like boomers.
Yeah, you absolutely do.
Mm-hmm.
All three of us.
I'm ex.
I know, we're both ex, but we sound like boomers.